Hello everyone, welcome back to GeekDisorder's web series over HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript, and jQuery. This is Lavik. I'll be walking you through this series. Today we're going to be going over some of the advanced color specifications, mainly the ones that were introduced in CSS3. Okay, and we have a couple new, we have three new ones. So we have a RGBA, a HSL, and a HSLA. As you can see in front of me, I've got the basic HTML5 document. Looks almost the same as the one we used last time. It's just I removed and added a couple of paragraphs here. I have my RGB still, but this time I have a RGBA, a HSL, and a HSLA. On my CSS, I went ahead, I kept the body and the RGB. I removed everything else, and we're going to be adding the specifications for these three new ones. Alright. If I save this and run it at the moment, you can see I have my RGB and all the three others are just regular black. Okay, so what does RGBA stand for? Well, it's an enhanced version of RGB. It adds a fourth value, and that is opacity. It allows you to from a 0 to 1 value. You can use like 0.5, 0.7, and so on. It allows you to tell the browser, 0 being you want that to be fully transparent. You'll see right through it. You won't see any color. It'll still be there, but you just won't see it. And 1, you'll have the full. It'll be fully visible. So, and you can kind of adjust in there if you want something to bleed through from the background or some other effect that you want. It allows you to do this, and so let's go ahead and take a look at that. We'll start with the RGBA, and remember RGBA just adds that fourth value, so you can control that. So we're going to switch over to styles here. Basically, it's going to look just like RGB, except my class is RGBA, so I just put RGBA, and open and close. I'm going to do color, and I'm going to do RGBA. Alright, there's my parentheses and my semicolon. Alright, I'm going to shoot for the same color as my RGB up top, so I'm just going to use percents here instead of the decimal value. So I'm going to do, there we go, 100, let's do 40, and let's do 10. Okay, and as I said, for this fourth value, it can be anywhere from 0 to 1. So let's go ahead and start off with 1. I'm going to save, switch over to HTML. I'm going to run this in Firefox. Alright, as you see here, we got the exact same color. Alright, if I switch back over to my CSS, I'm going to try 0 now. If I save, I run in Firefox. If you notice, RGBA is there, but it's not there. If I highlight the area where it should be, it is actually there. But since we changed this to 0, this fourth value, then it makes it completely transparent. We're not going to see it at all unless we highlight it like that. Alright, now let's try something kind of in the middle. Let's go for 0.5. Save, switch over, and let's run. And there we go. It's kind of transparent. So you can kind of mess with that. Like I said, if you want something to bleed through from the back, this is a good way to do that. Or if you have some other effect, you want like maybe a picture to show or something. Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next one. The next one is HSL. HSL stands for hue, saturation, and lightness. What this does, this has 3 values. It has a hue degree, which is a number ranging in degrees from 0 to 359, and it represents a color. Okay, the next one is the saturation, and the saturation ranges from 0 to 100. 0 causing the hue to be ignored, and 100 to be at full hue value. And here in a second, when we actually start using this, we'll play around. You'll actually see what each one of these does. And the last one is the lightness percent. It ranges from 0 to 100, 50 being the normal lightness, and 0 being black, and 100 being white. So let's go ahead and take a look at our HSL. I'm going to switch over. I'm going to create some rules for a class with HSL, and open and close. I'm going to go to my color. We'll put HSL, open and close parentheses, oh, and semicolon. Alright, the first value are hue degrees, and we're gonna remember it can be from 0 to 359, and let's say we're gonna use a 120 value. Okay, and next is our saturation, and we're gonna start off with 100% saturated. And then our last one is our lightness, and we're going to start off with normal, which is 50% saturated, or sorry, 50% lightness. Alright, let's go ahead and save this, switch over to our HTML, let's go to run, and here we go. We have kind of this green lime-ish looking color here. Now we're going to play around with this a little bit. Let's start off by changing the first value, which is our hue degrees. Let's move down to, say, 10. Alright, we'll save and we'll run this. And there we go, we have a red. And if I go, let's change it up again. I'm going to go to like, let's see, 340. I'm going to save. We're going to run, launch in Firefox. There we go, we still have a red. You might ask why we had a red at the low end and we have a reddish color at the high end. It is because of the way HSL works. At the very low end it starts with red, and at the very high end it ends with some red, and in between are all the other colors. So it's kind of wrapping itself around. So to show you this, we're gonna move back down some, about to 290. I'm gonna go save and run, and there we go. We have a purplish looking color. Alright, and in the next video I'm going to if you're wondering about the start with red, end with red, then in the next video you'll actually be able to play around with it, see actually how it works. So for right now, we'll leave it as that, and we'll start messing with our next color, and I'm going to move this back, say to our reds, and we'll try 0, see what that looks like. Yeah, there we go. That's a good red for us. Alright. Now we're going to move to our next number, which is the saturation. I have it at 100%. Let's just go ahead and see what 0 looks like. Alright, let's run this, launch in Firefox, and we see we have a gray here. Alright, so 100% is the full color, the full hue value, hue degrees, and 0% it doesn't have any of that. So let's start stepping it up. Let's try 10 in our saturation, and let's launch in Firefox. As you see, it looks a little bit, just a tiny bit different. It's not that gray, it's got a little bit of a hint, kind of makes it look like a little brown, but that's that red starting to saturate the color, the hue. Alright, so let's move it up again. Let's move it up to 20, and let's save, switch it over, launch, and as you can see it's a little bit more saturated. And let's jump up to 50. Alright, I'm going to save and run. And there we go. You can really start seeing the red now. Let's go to 75. Save and run. And there you go. You got a lot of the red. And of course, you jump back up to 100, you'll have that full red value, which I am going to move it back up to. Alright. And just to show you what that looks like, again, it's that full red that we started off with. Alright, let's move over to the third, the lightness. It goes from 0 to 100. 0 causing the hue to be ignored, 100 to have a full hue. So let's test that out. Let's start off, the one we just saw was 50. That's normal. It's the normal lightness. Let's move it up to 100 and see what happens. Okay. Okay, we have, it disappeared. Okay. And that's because 0 is black in the lightness and 100 is white. And so what's happened here is, since our background is white, it just blends right in. It is still there, but it blends right in. I'll show you. Let's switch over to my body, and I do background color, and I change this to white and save, and then run again. Oh, well, guess that won't work. I meant to change that to black. Alright, save And let's run that again in Firefox. And there we go. As you can see, that is there. And our text is actually white. Alright. Switch over. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and remove this black for the background. And that was 100% of the lightness. Now let's go ahead and try 0. And as I said before, this should be black. Let's run launching Firefox. And indeed it is. We have our text is black. So, like, you might say, well, what is this used for? Well, let's try some of the other values. Let's go up to 25% lightness and launch Firefox. As you see, we don't have that kind of full red. It's moved it from 50 being normal, 0 being black. It's moved it towards black, so you have a darker red. Okay. This is just a different way, like RGB, you use red, green, and blue to make your colors. This is just a different way to do that. You're controlling the hue degree, the saturation, and the lightness, and you can make a full range of colors using that. And as if we move towards 100 here, more towards white with 75, you'll see that it does change again. Okay, we have a more lighter red. It's more towards a white. It's a mixture in between, so we get this kind of a pinkish color. Alright, and so those are the three values of the hue here, of the HSL. Okay, so we have one more. We have HSLA, and as you have probably guessed, the A does the same thing it did with RGB. It adds a you can go to transparent to fully visible, and basically we do the same thing. I can actually copy this code right here, move it down, paste it. Of course, I have to add my class an A to the end because that's what my class is for this right here. Alright, and once more I have to add an A right here, and we'll have to add a fourth value. And this value goes from exactly like RGBA. It goes from 0 to 1. 0 being fully transparent, 1 being fully viewable. We'll start off with 0. Alright, and as you see, I changed nothing else, so our color for HSLA will be the same as our HSL. And running Firefox, there's HSL. Our HSLA is there, but it's fully transparent. Alright, let's go ahead and make that fully viewable by moving to 1. Save and run. And there we go. It's fully viewable, the exact same color. Alright, and then of course I can kind of just move in between. I can do 0.5. Save. Run in Firefox. And there you go. It's it's now a little bit transparent. Alright, well, you can kind of play around with these values and see which one you like using better. In the next video, I will show you some tools that you can use because I know with RGB, RGBA, HSL, and HSLA, even using hex, if you don't have a full list of your colors and what the values are for each one, picking a color can kind of be just hit and miss, guess, and kind of where you want to be at. So I'm going to show you a couple of tools that will let you pick your colors and know their values in each one of these easier. Alright, well, this has been Lavik with GeekDisorder. If you like this video and our content, please like, subscribe, and comment, and we will see y'all next time.